la fila fioshu, alanga la fila fuye, alanga la ferrekayere, oshunga la fila fuye, alanga la fila fioshu, alanga la fila fuye, alanga la ferrekayere, oshunga la fila fuye.
Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Ninti's Heart Center. This is for life coaching, this is for assistance and emotional healing, and this is something that's just really come to the forefront of a lot of people that I do spiritual work for. I do have a tarot channel, Queendom Tarot, which I do my spiritual work, but this is for life coaching. This particular series is dealing with the various relationships and, the healing of them. We're first going to start with the mother and daughter. I'm actually here at my mother's. I think for God to put me in that place for me to be able to help with this healing, put me in that zone. So I'm just tapping in today. I'm going to first start off with a prayer because this has been the foundation for my personal healing. And all I'm doing is really sharing what I've gone through to help heal my family relationships. And the foundation of my healing was definitely my connection with God. Without that, that's your foundation, that's your strength, that's your rock. Okay, so this is the prayer we're going to use for this healing. Okay, and as far as God is concerned, I'm not a part of any particular religion, not to choose or to limit myself in that way. I'm for everyone. So I'm here to help heal everyone, no matter what you call God, what your religion is, what book you go to. That is beyond what the work I do here. Everyone has a heart. Everyone has gone through pain. So when I say God and use God, by whatever name you call him, whatever relationship you have with him, whatever book you use to connect with him, that's on you. Okay? But this is the prayer. O Most High, you are my sustainer. You are my parent. I am your child. I seek refuge in you from my own disagreeable deeds. I acknowledge your favors to me, and I acknowledge my disagreeable acts. Forgive me my disagreeableness, for there is no one and no place I'd rather be than with you. Please take my pain and restore my soul. Amen. Ashe, so be it. Okay? The foundation of all of this is that first and foremost, you're a child of the Most High. Okay? So no matter the pain and the things and experiences that you've gone through with your earthly parents, that is going to be forever our foundation and our go-to. Okay? All right, the next thing that we're going to go to is the basic desire. I feel that is at the core of a mother-daughter relationship, which is for the mother to create her 2.0, to create her mini-me. For the daughter, it is to be like mom. But as they become older, and I've seen it usually after sexual contact, that sort of kind of changes over to I am mom. And that's where a lot of the struggles come from, because they want to be mom without the experiences and the work that's been put in to be mom. So like I said, that's where a lot of mother and daughter relationships begin to get a little tense within those teenage years, because then, like I said, it's the mom is the one to look up to. And then that sort of kind of transforms into I'm on the same level as mom. And a lot of times the expectations is to be able to do as mom does. And like I said, that is the root of a lot of the problems that mothers and daughters experience during the teenage years. And also the mom begins to probably see herself in another state and at a younger state, and she doesn't want to see that. Mom wants to see the 2.0 today. She doesn't want to see a repeat of how she got to where she was. Okay? But that's a lot of the internal struggle that goes on in a mother-daughter relationship. like I said, in the teenage years, in the very beginning, it does and can change. Usually, I have friends tell me that all the time. I was going to change when they get around 2022. It does. It does. It changes forms. Let's just say that. You know, for me, everybody, let me also say this too before I get too deep into this. Everybody's experience is not going to be the same. These things that I'm talking and speaking on are general. I know everyone's situation, there's other factors that come into play when it comes into these things. So it's not that cut and dry. This is general. You know, for me to get into depths with you, it would have to be a one-on-one session. Okay? So just take what you can. Okay? My favorite saying that my best friend says all the time is, take the meat and leave the bones. Okay? All right. The foundation, I feel, is definitely trust in this relationship. Trust is critical. Trust is what's going to be able to build that bond, the bond that you want with your daughter and the bond that you want with your mother. Also, let me say at this time as well, you could be sitting on both sides, because as I'm looking at this, I'm sitting on the daughter side and I'm sitting on the mother side because I have a daughter. So you may have to work with this in various ways, and look at it from various perspectives, depending on what you're dealing with and how you're, dealing with your mother, you're the daughter. Dealing with your daughter, you're the mother. So you understand what I'm saying? You're going to have to, may have to listen to this a couple times from different perspectives to get the fullness of this. Okay? All right. There's also 3 groups that I see in general. You have the mothers that were able to achieve that trust. What I've noticed is that single mothers usually have an easier time, somewhat, like I said, this is general, in creating that bond because that father figure is not there. Okay? And it's not really, it's a little easier to build a trust, is what I'm saying. What I've seen in situations where the father is there, this is my advice to mothers, because I've seen the mistake made here, and I see how mothers can lose trust. Okay, I'm going to tell you my personal story. When I was of a certain age, my mom asked me, had I had sex? Critical moment. Okay. I felt at that moment that I could trust her, obviously, because I told her the truth. But when I got home later on that afternoon and my dad was screaming my name, that was the day my mom lost my trust. What I'm saying, mothers, even if you tell dad, because I'm not telling you to keep nothing from your husband, I'm not telling you to do any of that, your partner or whatever. If you do tell dad, make sure, don't let him cross that, don't let him take that approach. Because another thing I believe is that there's certain situations, particularly with a daughter, that's for mothers. Mothers need to deal with more the compassionate side of things. Yeah, daddies need to be brought in when the law needs to be laid down. We understand that. We understand that. But in that situation, I think earning your child's trust is more important than the child being under attack at that moment. Because she could have told my dad. He could have knew the whole time. And the actions that were taken could have still been taken, which I basically got taken and put on birth control. And so yeah, just know that that's tricky. When your child trusts you with some information, be very careful on how you allow the dad to react, because it could be detrimental to the trust that you're trying to build with your child, because you want your child to come to you and tell you things. That's what you want. You want that open relationship. You want that child to share. It's better to be in that position. okay, than to have a child shut down on you. Okay, and we'll get into that next step of the parents that did not achieve the trust. And that this is sort of kind of where my mother falls because of that day. Okay. All right. Usually, let's talk about the mothers that did achieve trust. You know, they were able to confide in their mother and didn't feel like, you know, it was shared or, you know, anything like that. They didn't feel any repercussions for anything they shared with their mother. For those mothers that were able to achieve trust, the daughters will usually be open and share with the mother about things that's going on in their lives. They will usually resort to their mother for advice. They usually have a close bond, and the daughters will usually have a great sense of sisterhood when it comes to other women as well. Okay. All right. To the mothers that did not achieve that trust, the daughter will sneak around and usually live a double life. That is pretty much me. I was the good girl. I was at the top of my class. I was at the top 10%. I mean, I was academically, I was this and that. But please believe, I was getting into some trouble behind closed doors. I was underage drinking, and some other things as well. Sexual stuff. So, yeah, like I said, that's what was a result of losing that trust. Daughter will turn to friends and others for advice. I definitely experienced that. And many of these relationships with other women will be flawed. And that's definitely me. I don't have, and I'm still struggling with that today. Well, I'm rebuilding that now with my channel and things like that, really connecting with good spiritual soul sisters. You know, I'm getting there and healing that. But in the past, I have not had great relationships with women. I have actually not liked women that much, you know, as friends. I've only had a very few close women friends as I got older. So yeah, you can see that manifest in that way as well. All right. And lastly, when the mother is absent, you know, due to, you know, there's various reasons why a mother could be absent from the home. But these are some of the challenges. You know, we're just being real. We're just taking a look at the real results of some of the things that, you know, we've had to endure as children, you know, that are challenges that we have to overcome in life. That's how I look at it. You know, not as scars or flaws or, you know, anything like that, just challenges. Okay. The first one is a lack of ability to nurture. You definitely have some. I know some women that, you know, their mother was not present. They didn't want children. You know, that leads to people not wanting children. So I've actually seen that. I've seen a lack of actual femininity. I've seen people take more of a, you know, they just sort of kind of lack the want or desire for any type of femininity, anything feminine, a dress, a skirt, you know, that can manifest, like I said, in various ways, you know. Hatred for women, which turns into self-hatred. Like I said, a lot of these women do not, if they do have relationships with women, it's based on a lot of lower level stuff, you know, jealousy and envy, all those competition, all that shadow stuff comes into play. Also, you have rejection and abandonment issues. Definitely these women in relationships can have a fear, you know, of being left. They can be somewhat clingy to men, you know, or to either other, you know, women in their lives. All right. And the last one is a fear or lack of security. Um, just an innate fear. When your mother's gone or has been taken away, or it's gonna leave a scar. It's gonna leave a feeling of lack of security and a fear that anything or anybody, probably to be explained better, a fear of getting close to anybody. A fear of getting too close to someone because you may lose them. Okay. So we can see that manifest as well. Okay. The next thing I wanted to take a look at was, and like I said, where you fall in this. Wherever you fall in this, these are some of the challenges that you may see that you've overcome and you've seen play out in your life, and things you may want to prevent going forward with your daughter. Now that you can see how these things lead the outcome of certain things and certain choices. Okay? The shadow side can definitely be competition and manipulation. Because like I said, in the teenage years, the daughter can get very competitive with the mother. Very, that can show in dress, in how they dress and handle themselves, especially if sex has come into play. And manipulation. You have to understand, mothers. Your daughters have watched you carefully. They know your every move. Ever since they were young babies, they were standing in the bathroom watching you. Your daughter has been watching you for years. She knows you well. She knows how you tick. Okay. She knows your buttons. She knows it. So know that you're open for manipulation because of that, because she knows you so well. And she can definitely use that to her benefit. So I'm saying those are just two of the shadow sides we can see come out. And when we see those two things, I'm going to tell you what has to be done. Okay? Because I'm dealing with that right now as we speak. Okay? With my daughter. Me and my mom, I'm going to tell you, once we go into the healing, I'll explain a little bit more about that, about what phase I am. I'm in one phase with my daughter, and I'm in another phase with my mom. So, very interesting. All right. The next we're going to talk about just the healing. And this is where I come in. This is what I do. This is what I help coach people through, these processes, of how to really apply them in your life. Which the first one is forgiveness. I don't know if you watched the inner child one. I talked a lot about that. If you didn't, I would advise you to check that out. Because I do talk about how the perspective to forgive a person is just by understanding that a lot of times people did the best they could. A lot of times people were doing things that they felt were the best for the other person, but it just may have resulted in the outcomes they wanted or had adverse effects or whatever. So once you're able to look at things from that perspective, it can definitely open your heart to forgiveness. And, as a daughter, definitely look at your mother. Look at her life when she was a child. Really look at that and get some compassion. We try to find compassion in that. Seeing them in the struggles they went through in their youth can definitely help us gain compassion and empathy. Acceptance. Accept them for who they are. I had to come to that with my mom. Me and my mom, she can be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? She can do little things that are annoying to me. And she can, we'll just leave it at that. So those things I've had to learn to accept. Like even this week, like with me being here, I'm just learning how to ignore certain things. And just like, that's her nature, like that. Who the hell I think I am that I'm going to be able to change a 62-year-old, you know, a 63-year-old at this point. I can't. I don't want to take on the task. So it's just easier for me to accept the fact that this is who she is, you know. And, you know, it's easier now because we've gone through the boundaries phase. But let me get back to acceptance. So just accepting people for who they are and what they've come through, okay? Then unconditional love. Unconditional love is loving from a level of, I love you because you're a child of the Most High. I love you as a spirit, not because you're my daughter, not because you're my mother, but a higher sense of love, you know, on a spiritual level. Really trying to achieve that and see that within that person, you know, as a spirit, and loving them as that spirit just gives a higher level of love, even than just looking as, oh, I love you because you're my mother, or I love you because you're my daughter. No, first and foremost, I love you because you're a child of the Most High, just like me, down here trying to learn this thing just like me. And we're in this together. We're all connected. I need you and you need me. Okay? That's where we're going to learn to love from, that perspective. Okay? Boundaries. Yes, there comes a need. There comes a time that boundaries are needed on either side. Like I said, when those shadow aspects come in, the competition, the manipulation, like I said, that can manifest in various ways. But when that stuff comes into play, you have to put up your boundaries and say, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. No, you can't manipulate me anymore. And that's what I had to do with my daughter. Me and my daughter in the boundaries phase. Okay. I've been supporting her. She's 23. And I've been fully supporting her for the past year. On and off. You know, there may be a job in there for a couple months or something. But, you know, she knew mom's there. Mom's got me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can spend my money on the craziest of things. But mom's got the bills. Mom's got the important stuff. And a few weeks ago, I had to say, no, I don't. You know, it put me in the dark for a day. But I said, no, I will not. No. And yeah, boundaries, healthy boundaries, saying no, tough love. That's another aspect of being a mom and loving. You know, sometimes you have to say no. And definitely when you're dealing with someone like this, dealing with drugs and things of that nature, you've got to put up boundaries. And you can't feel guilty. You can't feel guilty. You can't allow yourself to feel guilty because you're taking a stand for you. Okay? And I tell you, people learn. Once you put those boundaries up, the boundaries, now let's get back to my mother. I had to put up boundaries probably a few months ago because I was getting a phone call every day on some complaining kind of stuff. And I was not in a place to deal with that because I was trying to get my channel built. I was just in a spiritual vibe. I was at a whole different frequency. And she would bring a certain level of frequency to me. And I stopped answering the phone. I stopped calling. I can't. If you don't have any good news to call and tell me, like, we can't talk. Like, I had to put up the boundaries and say, no, you're not fixing to dump this on me, Ma. I love you. But you're not fixing to come dump this stuff on me. Because that stuff you're talking about, I don't even know. Half the people you're talking about, I don't know. And don't care. You know, I don't care about what they have going on. Okay. So I had to put up those boundaries with her. But, you know, now I think she understood. Things started getting a little different. She started shifting. The boundaries make people know how they got to treat you what they're allowed to bring to you. That's why the boundaries are so important. Okay? Once you get through the boundaries phase, then it's called rediscovery. That's where me and my mom are right now. We're in rediscovery. I'm getting to know her again. She's getting to know the new me. We went to the movies the other night for the very first time in life. You know, we've been doing a lot of shop. We just came in from shopping. You know, it's the best it's ever been. Ever. And I thank God for it. That He's given me this, that I can share with you all. To bring me where I needed to be with my mom. You know, and I wanted to put this out there, you know, before Mother's Day, so people could get this and get the energy and can really have some level of peace and true love and connection with their mother on Mother's Day. You know, if you happen to see this before. So yeah, rediscovery phase. Like I said, me and my daughter in boundaries. Once we come out of boundaries, then we'll go into rediscovery phase. We have to relearn each other. You know, she has to relearn how, you know, how she's got to handle me, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. You know, we have to rediscover each other and rebuild our relationship. Okay? It's part of it. It's part of the process. It's part of the healing. Like I said, that's what I do. I help people go through these processes of healing and acceptance and really trying to how to really apply these things into your life. I help coach you through that. That is pretty much it, guys. Wow, that's great. I feel good. I feel good. That was really releasing for me and healing for me. You know, I hope and pray that this could help you in some way. I will soon be opening up for one-on-one sessions. So definitely, you know, subscribe. Look out for that. I also have the mother and son. The father's series part of the series will be coming out. Definitely going to get that out before Father's Day. But yeah, it's about family healing. You know, we got to get a lot of this emotional stuff up off of us and heal so that we can be lighter, so that we can spiritually ascend. You know, we can't take all this stuff back to God. You know, when we elevate all the way back, we can't take this stuff back with us. We got to leave this here in this experience and in this life. You know, this is the stuff that we're here to work on and work through, that's going to make us stronger, that's going to make us better, that's going to make us more at peace, more in love, more everything. Because God is love. And our goal should be at all times to have unconditional love. And you know what unconditional love is? It's not putting conditions on it. It's not saying you got to be like this, you got to be like that, you got to be like this. No, we're not coming from that perspective. Unconditional means there's no conditions. I love you because I love you. Okay? All right, family. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe, because I just feel this just needs to ripple. You know, we're healing the earth one heart at a time. I guess I've been sort of kind of shown it's not really in the full setup of, it is an aspect, an extension of the mother absent, and that's dealing with death, whether, you know, wherever stage, you know, that happened in life. Some of it, you know, it could have happened, that could have been the reason behind the mother not being there. And it also, you know, could have come, you know, just, you know, after years and years of being here. But the healing is a lot, very much the same. I know there is a whole different aspect of grief that is there that has to be addressed. But the steps of forgiveness, you know, forgiving, a lot of time the forgiving, what I've found is the forgiveness of God for taking your mother, is a lot of times the forgiveness that needs to happen. If there were things in past, the relationship was sort of kind of left unrepaired, there may be some forgiveness that still needs to be taken for healing purposes. Acceptance is accepting, that your mother is no longer here in the physical. That is a step of acceptance of how it manifests in this particular situation. And then we have unconditional love. Unconditional love, knowing that love never dies. That, whether they're on the spiritual level or what, that love is still there. With the boundaries level, that manifests in the form of that you're no longer physically able to have contact with your mother. So that's the boundary. That's how it manifests in this situation. And the rediscovery, how it manifests, is how to continue the bond now that your mother has transitioned to the spiritual side. I'm very big on, like I said, I don't choose a religion, but ancestral, worship is a part of my, who I am, keeping deep connection with my ancestors that have passed over. So I feel like the rediscovery in this aspect, like I said, is learning to deal with them on the spiritual plane, which, talking to them as they're still here in the physical. I mean, still keeping that connection, discovering new ways to connect. A lot of times, spiritual connections can happen in dreams. It can happen through, things being left around, songs playing. It can manifest in many ways that, you can be communicated with from the spiritual side, just something that happened today for me. I mean, I was out with my mother. I've been thinking of my grandmother a lot, just dealing with this whole thing. And, her thing was roses. Her name was Rose, and her things was roses. And me and my mom just went to Home Depot, and they were the most beautiful little miniature roses. I had to have one. I had to have one because I knew that was her way of communicating with me, of letting me feel her, So things like that, just looking deeper and looking, deeper to the spiritual level, things that may not make sense on the physical, can definitely be a way of rediscovering your connection now that your mother or a daughter, however this manifests, that just came to me, however this manifests, has transitioned to the other side. Okay. For those who resonate with that. But that's all I have. I wish you all the best. I hope that what I brought forward can definitely help. Like I said, coming forth, I would definitely, feedback, likes and shares, emails, those kind of things let me know the need is there. That's how I know, okay, the need is there, and I really need to get on, offering, this service in this to this platform, and bringing it out in this way. But that's how you can help me know what next moves to make with this. I also thought about some, live chats, some various ways to offer assistance. But all of that stuff will be coming forward soon. It's just really right now giving birth to this new channel, and just letting it, come together. It's a baby being born, So again, thank you so much. Peace and love to the family.
Alanga la fila fiochu, alanga la fila fuye.